One has hardly begun to reflect on the physiology of criminals. Yet one already stands before the irrefutable insight that there exists no essential difference between criminals and the insane. Assuming one believes that the usual mode of moral thinking is the mode of thinking of mental health, but no belief is still so firmly believed as this, and so one should not hesitate to accept the consequence and treat the criminal like a mentally ill person, not, to be sure, with an arrogant show of compassion, but with medical prudence and goodwill. He needs a change of air, different company, temporary absence, perhaps solitude and a new occupation. Very well. Perhaps he himself finds it in his advantage to live in custody for a time, so as to find protection against himself, and against a burdensome tyrannical urge. Very well. One should make completely clear to him the possibility and means of becoming cured, the extinction, transformation, sublimation of this urge. Also, in serious cases, the unlikelihood of a cure, one should offer the incurable criminal, who has become a horror to himself, the opportunity for suicide. Keeping this most extreme means of relief in reserve, one should neglect nothing to restore to the criminal good spirits and freedom of mind. One should wipe the pangs of conscience from his soul as a matter of cleanliness, and indicate to him how he might equalize and surpass the harm he has perhaps done to just one person through benefits he could bestow on others, even the whole community. In all this one should show him the greatest consideration, and especially by allowing him anonymity, or a new name, and frequent changes of residence, so that his reputation and future life suffer as little danger as possible. To be sure, for now the one who has been harmed, irrespective of how this harm is to be rectified, still wants his revenge and turns to the courts for it. And for the time being the courts continue to maintain our detestable penal laws, with their petty scales and the desire to counterbalance guilt with punishment. But might we not get beyond this? What relief it would be for the general feeling of life if, along with the belief in guilt, one also rid oneself of the old instinct for revenge, and even considered it a piece of prudence for the promotion of happiness to join Christianity in blessing one's enemies and doing good to those who have offended us. Let us abolish the concept of sin, and let us quickly thereafter abolish the concept of punishment. May these banished monsters henceforth live somewhere other than among humans, if they insist on living at all and do not perish from their own disgust. Meanwhile, consider that the loss which society and the individual sustain through the criminal is exactly the same as the loss they sustain through the sick person. The sick person spreads worry and ill humor, produces nothing, consumes what others produce, requires caretakers, doctors, entertainment, and lives off the time and efforts of the healthy. And yet we would now describe as inhumane anyone who for this reason wanted to take revenge on the sick person. To be sure, this used to be done in crude cultures. And even now among some savage peoples, the sick person is in fact treated as a criminal, as a danger to the community, and the dwelling of some demonic being, who has entered his body as the consequence of a guilt. There the rule is, every sick person is guilty. And should we not yet be ripe for the opposite view? Should we not yet be allowed to say, every guilty person is sick? No, the hour for that has not yet arrived. We still lack above all, doctors for whom what has been called practical morality to now must transform itself into a part of their science and art of healing. We still generally lack that voracious interest in these things which will perhaps one day arrive, in a manner not unlike the turmoil of the earlier religious ecstasies. The churches are not yet in possession of the caregivers for health. Neither our lower nor higher schools yet teach care of the body, or dietetics. No thinker has yet had the courage to assess a society or individual according to how many parasites it can tolerate, nor has there yet been a founder of a state who has wielded the plowshare in the spirit of that generous and tender-hearted precept. If you want to till the land, till it with the plow. Then the bird and the wolf who follow behind the plow will rejoice in you. All creatures will rejoice in you.